The St. Louis Cardinals make not one, but two trades involving closer Ryan Helsley and lefty Steven Matz. Was the return good or underwhelming? I feel like some people are disappointed. We'll discuss it on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Follow me on X at JD Sports Radio and the podcast at LO_Cardinals on X. We're on YouTube as well as TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Today's episode is being brought to you by 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com today and use my promo code, which is Locked On Golf, to receive 20% off your first order. Only valid through September 30th. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today. So the trade deadline started with a bang for the Cardinals on Wednesday. There was a slew of transactions that took place, some bigger than others. Arizona traded third baseman Eugenio Suarez to the Seattle Mariners, which is who traded him to the Diamondbacks in the first place when they were cutting payroll back in 2023. So that's kind of funny to me. Closer to home, you had the Cincinnati Reds trading with the Pittsburgh Pirates for third baseman Ke'Bryan Hayes, and they got Rays pitcher Zach Littell. The Phillies got their reliever in the Twins, Johan Duran, would, heck of an arm right there. But he kind of set the market price for what the closers were going to be worth. But the Cardinals were also busy. We've seen the closers moving today. Mason Miller got traded from the A's to the San Diego Padres, who have not traded anybody else away as far as like members of their major league squad. That bullpen is disgusting. And yay, the Cardinals get to go to San Diego this weekend and face them. Good times. But the Cardinals were also busy. As you might know by now, they moved two of their bullpen pieces in closer Ryan Helsley and Steven Matz. Let's go ahead and start with the Ryan Helsley trade, because this was the one that was supposed to net the Cardinals the biggest return, barring any deals for other people like a Brendan Donovan, if you would. But the Cardinals were able to get three prospects in return for their closer, who, again, coming off an NL Reliever of the Year award-winning season in 2024, we know things haven't gone quite as smoothly for Ryan Helsley this year, particularly with his fastball getting hit all the time. But the slider still plays, and you knew people were going to be interested in triple digits, that slider, as they move in towards the playoff situation, whether it was going to be wild card, whether it was going to be winning a division. But the Mets were the ones who jumped on it. The Cardinals sent Ryan Helsley to New York in exchange for infield prospect Jesus Baez, right-handed pitcher Nate Dohm, and right-handed pitcher Frank Elisalt. Now, Baez is the guy that most people are more excited about when it comes to this particular trade. He's from the Dominican Republic. He's only 20 years old. 5'10", 180 pounds. MLB Pipeline has him ranked as the sixth best prospect for the Cardinals now. He was number 8 for the Mets. And the scouting grades on him are as follows. And remember, these go from 20 to 80, 80 being the best. The hit grade is 50, power 60, running 40, arm 60, fielding 50. Overall, they give him a 50. The write-up on him says that the right-handed slugger was named New York's Dominican Summer League Player of the Year that first summer when he finished with a 744 OPS and 7 homers across 54 games. His big stateside breakout came in 2024 when he opened up with a 262, 338, 444 slash line with 10 home runs in 64 games with single A St. Lucie. That prompted a late June promotion to high A Brooklyn, but Baez lasted only 8 games with the Cyclones before suffering a torn meniscus in his right knee that required season-ending surgery. So obviously that's a hurdle that he had to overcome. Baez's power blossomed in 24. He managed a 104.6 mile an hour, 90th percentile exit velocity among the Florida State League's best at just 19 years old. So you like to hear that. It's stout strength from his 5'10" frame, and it helps that he can pull and lift the ball with authority. He'll shorten his movements with 2 strikes, going from an open stance and leg kick to a more stationary load. Doesn't whiff much against any pitch type. He does chase a good amount, however. And more polished pitchers will be able to take advantage if he can't reel in that approach. The infielder will clock occasional solid home to first times, but isn't expected to be much of a runner as his body matures. Baez got looks at shortstop, third base, and second before the trade, but remains likely to slide to the hot corner long-term, where his hands and arm strength are solid fits. He gives the Cardinals another dynamic infield talent alongside J.J. Weatherholt and Yadro Padilla. So far this season, at 2 different A-ball stops, 242 average, 10 dingers, 42 ribbies, 76 games. So people like him. He's not, considered he was inside the top 100. I don't remember if it was MLB Pipeline or it was Baseball America that did have him in their top 100 at one point this season. I do not think he is there anymore. So definitely talented, definitely some upside there. And I know fans are going to question, like, wait a second, why are we chasing after another infielder? Isn't that going to cause a logjam? Which we've seen over the years. The Cardinals had problems with the outfield, right? We got too many outfielders. They're all so good. And they would trade away guys, and those guys would become studs. And then the guys that they would keep around wouldn't quite pan out the way they thought. It seemed like they made the wrong decision every time. I mean, Arozarena, Adolis Garcia, like, the drill. You don't have to keep going through this every time. But now you've got, like, on the infield, a lot of dudes, right, that you feel pretty darn good about. But the answer to the question of whether or not this is going to cause a logjam is no. He's 20 right now. He's only 20 years old. So who knows what the future might hold? You traded for him because of his upside. He may never play for the Cardinals. He may be used as another piece down the road to go get more pitching help, which is what a lot of people just want the Cardinals to do. And I agree with that. They need it. Nato is most certainly gone in 2 years for sure. If not sooner, there might be a possibility that he gets dealt today. I'm actually keeping up to date on everything while we do this, but I haven't seen anything quite yet about him, but we'll find out. But yeah, so Nato, maybe this kid sticks at third base with Baez. Maybe Nolan Gorman and Thomas J.C. don't pan out. Maybe they have to move to different positions. We already had Gorman playing second. Maybe J.C. learns to play the outfield. Who knows? Sometimes just ish happens. So to worry about what position he plays right now and all the people you have around that position, I'm not concerned about it. I think that's a little silly at this moment to be worried about that when it comes to a 20-year-old. But it is something that they'll, obviously have to address at some point or another, because, you're looking at, Gorman and Donovan and J.C. and Wynn and J.J. Weatherholt. You've got what looks like to be a nice little stable of infielders going on there. So somebody's going to have to go somewhere else if they're all going to play together. So, but like I said, things happen. We'll see. Doesn't mean you're wrong for being curious as to why they would be attracted to another third baseman. But I'm just saying, keep it in mind. He's 20 years old. He's got a ways to go before he's even sniffing the big leagues. Hasn't even made it to AA. He's been assigned to Peoria, so he's still an A-ball. So then you got the pitchers that they acquired, which was as nice as it was to be like, okay, cool, Baez, but we want pitching. We need pitching. They acquired 2 of them, both right-handed. Both have shown strikeout potential. We'll talk about them coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Now, this thing is delicious because it brings the bold grape. You get the ginger, which is, I'm a big fan of that, and the lime flavor all mixed together like your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, and it gives you a quick, energizing shot, which is great. Whether you're sinking birdies or you're just making memories with friends, this is a hole-in-one for your energy game. I play golf as much as I possibly can. It's a little difficult in the summertime because of all the stuff going on with the Cardinals. But, I recently played in a tournament with some friends, and, 18 holes is a long day to be out there on the course. And you're going to want to boost at some point. And 5-Hour Energy Transfusion is your secret weapon to keep you energized, to keep you sharp, both on the course and off the course. All kinds of other things in real life, going to the gym, just trying to stay focused while things like the trade deadline are going on. The grape ginger lime flavor, it gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the Bev card. And you can go to 5hourenergy.com today. That is the number 5hourenergy.com, and use my promo code LockedOnGolf to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good in subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or you're trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X or TikTok anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. Most people wanted the Cardinals, including myself, to target pitching in return for their assets at this trade deadline. Whoever they were going to move, we were hoping that they would be able to replenish the lack of pitching depth that is in their organization right now. I feel like you can find bullpen arms. I feel like that's a thing. But getting starters is not the easiest thing in the world to do. And it looks like the Cardinals got one of each. And I'm sure the Cardinals felt the same way about this. Like, they were able to land a couple of these guys from the Mets as part of this Helsley trade. One was a top 15 prospect in the Mets system, while the other one, he didn't crack their top 30, but he's not like some just throwaway trash prospect. We're going to start with Nate Dohm, 22 years old, 6'4", 210 pounds, out of Zionsville, Indiana, which is about, it's like 25 minutes outside of Indy. He was a 2024 third-round pick out of Mississippi State. Scouting grades are as follows. The fastball, 55. Remember, this goes 20 to 80. Fastball, 55. Curveball, 50. Slider, 55. Changeup, 40. Control, 55. Overall, they give him a grade of 45. Here's what MLB Pipeline had to say about him. The healthy version of Dohm utilizes a 93 to 95 mile an hour fastball with impressive carry to blow past hitters up in the zone. He ran the heater up to 99 in shorter stints as a sophomore reliever, a sign of what is in the tank, and he relied heavily on the heater throughout his college career. So when you hear 93, 94 is where they normally sit, you're kind of like, oh, that's a little underwhelming compared to some of the arms you're seeing around the league these days. But to know that he has the ability to crank it up to 99, kind of like, Tekoa Roby could do that. Gordon Gracefo, you've seen him hit 99 this year. So that's good to hear. 82, 85 mile an hour slider plays off the heater well, darting late glove side to get a healthy amount of whiffs, which we like. He's mostly kept his upper 70s curveball in his pocket as a pro, but the offering gives him a vertical option too. His upper 80s changeup is often too firm and doesn't stand as a huge weapon against lefties, leading to splits concerns. Dohm was a tremendous strike thrower in his 2 years in Starkville, but because of the forearm issues, including more during his sophomore campaign, evaluators hadn't seen that control hold up over long stints as a starter. He quieted some of those concerns in the first half of the 2025 season before this trade. The lack of a change could hurt him down the line, but there's still starter upside here given his ability to fill the zone. So far this year, 2 A-ball stops for Dohm. He was a combined 3 and 5, but he's got a 2.87 ERA, 77 strikeouts, and 62 2/3 innings. That's a strikeouts per 9 of 11.3, which is something the Cardinals sorely miss in their organization. They need more guys who can miss bats, and it looks like Dohm has the capability to not only be a starter, but if it happens to go in a different direction and he becomes a reliever, so be it. You're seeing how important bullpens are in the game of Major League Baseball these days. I've said it before, and I know it drives people nuts, but the days of seeing guys going 7 innings, they're kind of over. It doesn't happen very often anymore. You're looking for 5, maybe 6, and then it's bullpen time. And you need some dudes who have swing and miss in the bullpen to get you through the end of those games. And the good teams are doing it. Look what the Mets are doing. In this trade, getting Ryan Helsley along with, they've gotten 2 other relievers to go along with the guys he already had. So they got a bullpen now that's got 4 studs in it. The San Diego Padres getting Mason Miller today to go along with 3 all-stars in their bullpen already. That is the way things are going. And if you don't have the horses in the pen, you're not going to win. It's just not going to work out. So you need something other than just rotation guys. You want those two, but you need the bullpen stuff. Part of the reason the Cardinals were actually good this year at times this season, because of the bullpen being pretty steady. They had that fluctuation going on with guys like Chris Roycroft, Ryan Hernandez not panning out the way they wanted him to. They were looking for other guys to fill that role. They've kind of settled in on guys like Swanson and Riley O'Brien, and you need these kind of guys to get you through. So whether or not he turns into a starter or a reliever, as long as he keeps striking dudes out, I'll take either or, right? The second pitcher they were able to acquire was Frank Elisault, who was not ranked in the Mets top 30. He's not ranked in the Cardinals updated top 30 either, according to MLB Pipeline, but he's 6'2", 210, out of Miami, 23 years old. You guys are going to love this. Comes from the same Florida school that produced JD Martinez and the Lizard King Miles Michaelis. Oh, yeah. One report says he delivers a mid-90s sinker, a changeup that almost serves as a splitter, and a pair of breaking balls from a low release point. So they like what he's got. It just isn't like, whoa, amazing stuff that would crack the top 30, but it's decent. So far at 2 stops and A-ball this year, 4-5 at the ERA at 3.04, 65 Ks, and 56 and a third innings. Opponents only hitting 180 against him with a whip under 1. So he's not walking dude. So he's obviously got some control. I know people wanted more. And the expectations were that Ryan Helsley was going to be worth a huge bag. And he just wasn't. He wasn't worth as much as a Duran because he's a rental. He's only going to be on that team probably for a couple months. And then he's going to test free agency. And sure, maybe he does come back to the Cardinals. But whoever gives him the highest bid, I just find it hard to believe that the Cardinals are going to be the ones to do that. But what are people saying about this deal? Because I know Cardinal fans are kind of underwhelmed by it. CBS Sports, RJ Anderson gave the Mets an A for getting Helsley to go along, as I mentioned, Gregory Soto, Tyler Rogers that they got, plus Edwin Diaz. So that's a nasty bullpen. For the Cardinal side of things, he gave him an A, saying, considering that the Cardinals were trading a half season of a reliever, this looks like a good return, one that may lack the name brand value that the Giants received from the Mets in exchange for Tyler Rogers, but that may offer more tangible production. So a phrase that, Peter Bukowski, who does Locked On Packers, he always says, it's more bites at the apple. Instead of taking one really good prospect and hoping he pans out, and if he doesn't, you've got 3 bites at the apple here of one of these guys panning out. Hopefully, all 3 of them end up doing something productive for the Cardinals at some point. Keith Loft, the Athletic. Originally, there was some confusion here because everybody saw him go, that is a heist. And people misconstrued that it was a heist for the Cardinals when, in fact, he meant for the Mets. So he thinks this is a really good deal for the Mets and that the Cardinals didn't get quite enough as maybe they should have. The guys over at ESPN had it as a B grade for the Mets and an A- for the return that the Cardinals got, saying that Baez is the headline prospect, has plus bat speed and some high-end exit velo readings, and despite being young for his league, remember, he's only 20, he has kept his strikeout rate in check at just 16%. They say Dohm is the better of the 2 pitching prospects. He was up to 99 as a reliever for the Bulldogs, so that could be his ultimate destination. The thing that I feel is a bit of a bummer about this is that all 3 of these dudes are an A-ball. They're A-ball guys. Doesn't mean they can't make their way up through the system quickly, but A-ball guys give me the vibe that they are like 2 years away minimum from making an impact at the major leagues. And as a fan, it sucks because we want to turn this ship around now. Like, we don't want to wait 2 years for these guys to get up there and start helping the Cardinals win ball games. Like, we want instant satisfaction and gratification, and this deal does not give you that at all, at least in my opinion. Again, maybe they do go up quicker than anticipated, but it's more than likely not going to be that way. So, when you get something and you acquire something, you're like a kid, like you want to go play with your new toy, and these toys are not something that are ready to be taken out of the box yet. So that's That's unfortunate. Now, the other trade they swung, Steven Matz, going to the Boston Red Sox. This guy, the guy they got in return, actually much closer to the major league. So we'll discuss the Steven Matz for Blaze Jordan deal coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Thanks again for not liking, I don't know what that means, for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the new Locked On MLB Game Night, every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on the YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your podcast. I know they're going to be discussing the trades that went down. We talked about them last night as they were pouring in late night. It was kind of exciting. It was kind of fun. It's just, I'm sad because the Cardinals are not acquiring talent that's going to help them win this year. And I knew this was coming. It's not like this was a surprise, but I watch everybody else and all these other teams getting all these fun names and getting ready to make a push where the Cardinals are unloading guys that are going to help other teams. And it's a bummer. So it sucks. It's part of the reason I'm dressed in all black here. I'm in mourning for yet another Cardinal season that's going to the grave. Steven Matz was dealt on Wednesday night, and he is heading to the Boston Red Sox in exchange for corner infielder Blaze Jordan. Now, Blaze Jordan's name is one that has seemingly been on the list of that's going to be a future Cardinal at some point. His name always popped up in chats when discussing deals, possibly between the Cardinals and the Bo Sox. And now he's headed our way. It's finally come to fruition. And there's some upside to Jordan, who is, he's swinging it pretty well in the minors this year, where he's been at AA and has been promoted to AAA as well. So he's on the cusp of coming to the major leagues, batting a combined .308. He's got 12 home runs, 62 RBIs, 22 doubles, an OPS of 872. Many believe that he might have more power in his bat still than has actually been seen so far since he's become a pro. But they've been pleasantly surprised that he's become a much better contact hitter than they thought he would be already. So not swinging and missing as much, taking walks. So just becoming a better all-rounded hitter. MLB Pipeline scouting grades got him as the hit tool at 50, power at 50, running 30, arm 50, fielding 40. Overall, he's a 40. ESPN said this about him, that he has risen steadily one level at a time after being drafted out of high school, and so has reached Triple H by age 22. His strikeout rate suggests good bat-to-ball ability, but his powered walk numbers portend limited secondary skills for a player whose bat is going to have to carry him. Still, he has got a great name. It could develop into a useful lefty matching role player in the majors, the kind of performer the Cardinals have often gotten good mileage from in the past. And I can't remember where I saw what he was doing against left-handers, but it was like crazy how much he just mashed the left-handers. And we know, as somebody who has watched the Cardinals day in and day out for the last couple of years, they've had some trouble hitting those guys. And it's nice to see that they're addressing that. Like, well, let's get a guy that can smack the lefties around a little bit, and he most certainly can. The question is, where are you going to play him? Started as a third baseman, is playing more at first base now. You've got some first base guys already kind of sitting there. And Burleson, who is, still an outfielder. Ivan Herrera, maybe he's going to be an outfielder. Maybe he's going to play some first. Wilson Contreras is still on this team. So, DH, sure. Slides in as the number 17 prospect. Once again, on the updated MLB Pipeline top 30 for the Cardinals, has been already assigned to the Memphis Redbirds. Matz was an expiring contract. He's a rental. He's a veteran. He's a lefty. There is some use for that. But at the same time, how many of you thought about DFAing Steven Matz over the last couple of years? Probably a lot of you. And to see him have a decent year this year and create some worth and be able to get somebody in return for him that, is a top 17 prospect and appears to be a pretty decent hitter. Somebody that obviously Chaim Bloom, who used to be with the Red Sox, thinks highly enough of, that he's like, yeah, you might want to check this kid out, maybe bring him in. Young guy, too. What is it, 23? Is that where he said he was? 20. Let me triple check here. Hold on. 22. I'm sorry. So 23 is the oldest player they got, is the one of the pitchers from the Mets. So so you got some young guys here, and it's some talent that you're bringing in. Again, you're trying to restock your prospect pool. You're also trying to rebuild your player development, and maybe these are some guys that can help with that, and lead the Cardinals into a better spot in the future. So all in all, they got a first baseman, a third baseman, 2 pitchers with upside. 3 of them become top 17 prospects for you right away. Is it less than what maybe you would have gotten in this offseason if you had dealt these guys? Because that was the risk that the Cardinals took this year, was that, okay, we're not going to blow this whole thing up. We're actually going to keep some of these guys, and hopefully they have good years. We win some ball games, and if need be, they become better trade chips later on. Not trading Helsley, Fetty, and Matz back in this offseason. I don't know what people were offering for these guys, but in hindsight, certainly a mistake with Eric Fetty. He flamed out quickly and was terrible this year for the most part. His first start with the Atlanta Braves the other night did not go well either. But I don't know. I don't know what you were going to get from Matz back then. I don't know what Helsley's worth was. You think Helsley's worth would have been higher considering the season he came off of. So that probably was a mistake in hindsight now too. And it's one of the reasons why, if you're going to trade guys, you trade them at their highest point. You don't hope that you're going to get another year of that stuff. You get out now. So that's one of the reasons why, obviously, with Phil Maton, he's having a very good season. He's the next guy that's probably going to get moved from the Cardinals. They actually, because they're in San Diego now, and I believe he's one of the guys that stayed behind because they're, pretty much sure that he's not going to be on this team anymore. Somebody will come after him and they'll get something for him. Am I expecting a lot? Because again, he's another rental who doesn't have, he's not throwing triple digits. He's not one of those big names, but obviously he's solid. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot back. But again, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. You can re-sign him if you need to, but there's also the chance that you lose him and you don't get anything. So better something than nothing, right? And we're also waiting on word on whether or not guys like Jojo Romero could be moved. Lars Nootbaar's name, even though he's been hurt, he's going to be on a rehab assignment in Springfield along with Gorman, who hit a home run in his rehab assignment. So he's somebody looking for an outfielder could be interested in. Nolan Arenado's name is still getting floated out there as somebody that might get moved. We'll see. I'm not anticipating those 3 guys getting moved, but I'd understand it if they did get moved. But Phil Maton for sure, probably out the door. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. If anything else breaks, obviously we're dropping those quick shorts about different trades. So if you missed those from last night, like we had some insight and knowledge on what was going on with the Cardinals last night. So I dropped that for you last night. But make sure you like, subscribe, and you'll be able to get that content right away. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.